All right, well, we will get started here. So thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Amanda Wegner and I'm the Communications Director at the district. Just a couple things before I turn it over. So we are recording this public information meeting tonight, and we will be posting it on the project webpage, which will be shared later in the presentation. We will have some time for questions at the end, which you can either drop in chat, or since it's a small group, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. If we get a flurry of additional participants, I may ask you to raise your hand, but at this point, that may not be the case. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Eric and Tom to present to the information for tonight.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start. My name's Eric Jellin. I am the project engineer with the Madison Metropolitan Sewerage District. This is a PIM for the West Interceptor-Shorewood Relief Phase 3 project. We've done a couple phases already, and this will be the third and final phase, which will be done in a couple different sections that we'll talk about later on. Next slide, please. So the agenda, what we're going to talk about today, a little bit about the project background, a little bit about the district, who we are, what we do, the design, construction sequence, schedule, and then, as Amanda said, if you have questions at the end, then we can go through those. Next, please. So a little bit about the district. We were created in 1930 by the state legislature. And we are not just Madison, but we serve, area communities, 25 owner communities we serve: Madison, Middleton, Fitchburg, Town of Dunn, McFarland, DeForest, several sanitary sewer districts that includes over 400,000 individuals and businesses throughout the area. And we collect and treat on average about 37 million gallons of sewage daily. Next slide, please. We own 144 miles of pipe. The pipe that we're working on with this project is part of the West Interceptor system. The West Interceptor system is some of the oldest, contains some of the oldest pipe in our entire network. The oldest pipe was built in 1916. That pipe is highlighted in orange in the diagram here in the map. And then the pipe highlighted green, that was built in 1932. And then over the years, there have been several extensions, reliefs, and replacements of the system. So a relief pipe is a pipe that typically is built parallel to an existing pipe in order to increase the capacity. And a lot of times we'll keep the original pipe, and then we'll also have another pipe that's parallel to it or nearby somewhere. An extension is when we extend the pipe out to serve other areas. Next slide, please. And this particular project is actually being driven because we need capacity to serve the far west side of Madison and north and west of Middleton. It's rapidly developing in that area, and all of that flow comes through the West Interceptor system and through this area. The map in this particular slide is from our facilities collection system facilities plan or study, which is done by CARPSI. Shoot, I'm blanking on what that stands for now. The area, it's basically they look at all our pipes and all our system and tell us, where capacity constraints might be. The pipe in red is actually we don't have the text from the map, but the reason that's red is because it's basically at capacity. It was at capacity and needed to be replaced immediately. We have replaced that already as part of phase 1. The pipe in orange is pretty near term. I believe that was 2020 to 2025 would reach capacity. And that is the pipe that we will be replacing in phases 2 and 3. Phase 2, by the way, has also already been done. It was done as part of the University Avenue project. And phase 3, as I said, would take place in 2 sections, one by the Shorewood Pool and another down by Highland Avenue. But Tom will talk about that and a few other things next. Tom?
Yeah, thank you, Eric. And my name is Tom Stutzer. I'm the project manager for Strand Associates, leading the design work for the project underneath Eric. So Eric had mentioned interceptor sewer term a couple different times. So what is an interceptor sewer? So interceptor sewer is a large diameter sanitary sewer pipe that conveys flows to the wastewater treatment plant. These pipes flow by gravity, and these sometimes are underneath roadways, sometimes they're in open, undeveloped areas. The graphic at the bottom just shows kind of the how wastewater gets from your house or business all the way to the wastewater treatment plant. So from your house, pipes, the wastewater leaves through pipes called laterals. Those go to local sewers, which are the smaller sewers out in front of your local streets. Those flow to sometimes pumping stations, other times larger sewers, and then eventually make their way into these interceptor pipes, which take the wastewater all the way to the wastewater treatment plant. So you can in the transportation world, you hear the term interstate highways. You can think of interceptors as the interstate highways of the wastewater network. All right, so how is an interceptor sewer installed? So a couple different ways that can be accomplished. The most common way is up here on the top, which would be an open cut method. So there, in that situation, the contractor digs a trench, pipe gets installed and then backfilled up and restored. So a typical interceptor pipe is in the 10 to 25 foot range. There are sewers much deeper in the sewer network. For this project, that's about the right range that we expect to see on this job. The other type of installation method is a trenchless method. So in that situation, when having to cross under maybe a busy highway or a railroad corridor, contractors can actually bore underneath those items to put a pipe in without digging a trench. We had to do that for phase 2 as part of the University Avenue project, where we bored underneath the railroad tracks right in front of University Station. All right, so zoom back out here, talk about the project phases and current status, and Eric started to touch on these items. So just a brief overview. So the green line up there is the phase 1 limits, which was constructed in about 2022. So starting on the west end at Indian Hills Park and ending just west of Shorewood Boulevard. So again, that's done and installed already. And then jumping ahead to the pink pipe, that was phase 2. So we did that in conjunction with the University Avenue roadway project. So that pipe was installed here last year. So that's done. And so here tonight, we're mainly going to be talking about phase 3, which is the blue pipes on this map, which is basically what's left within this project. So there's kind of 2 different areas. There's a section in the middle between Shorewood Boulevard and Marshall Court area. And then there's some additional pipe on the east end of the project, starting just east of U Bay Drive and then ending just west of Walnut Street. So all in all, the project total had close to 2 miles of pipe as part of this network that we replaced. All right, so taking a look at the Highland section. So this was the very east end of the project that I had mentioned. So what you're looking at here, all of the blue lines that are up here on the map, those are all existing pipes that are there today. And then the red lines are pipes that we are either installing in addition to what the pipes that are out there, or replacing with larger pipes from what's there today. So kind of starting at the west end here, we have kind of 2 runs of relief pipe, like Eric mentioned. So this will be additional relief parallel pipe to what's out there today. And then the pipe will be underneath the Highland Ave ramps, both the on-ramp to Campus Drive and the off-ramp. So we have one section just west of Highland, which will be a replacement pipe. Again, putting a bigger pipe where the old pipe is today. You'll notice there's a gap in the red lines here. That's because the pipe that's here just east of Highland Ave has enough capacity for future needs. And so we plan to put a liner in this pipe to protect it, but leave that pipe there. And that's going to help with some traffic control that I'll talk about here in a minute. And then the very east end of the project, again, there's some replacement pipe kind of from the top of the off-ramp onto Highland from campus and leading to just west of Walnut Street. So that's kind of a brief summary of the Highland section. Next, I'll talk about that middle section near Marshall Court and Shorewood Boulevard. So again, on this map, blue pipes are existing. So there's 2 pipes out there today that exist that were installed back in 1932 and 1959. So in this section, we were going to be replacing the old 1932 pipe with a larger pipe. So again, 2 pipes out there today, 2 pipes will be out there when we're done, just one larger one. The project limits, you can see here, there's a kind of a yellow box just west of Shorewood. That's where we started phase 1. So that's where we're going to be tying into. And then the pipe terminates for this phase down here, just in front of the University Station property. And that's where we did the bore and jack underneath the railroad corridor. And that's what set us up to start this section. The one thing I wanted to point out here near the pool area is that after a lot of discussion with the village and residents in the community, we think we found a way to hopefully save the large bur oak tree that's next to the pool that we know is important to many people. All right, as with any construction project, there will be impacts, to the general public. So I wanted to highlight a few of those items and maybe some things we're doing to try to minimize those as much as possible. So again, we're back at the east end of the project near Highland Avenue. And so one of the biggest impacts here is that there's going to be some closures of some of these roadways. And so the campus drive on and off ramp from Highland is going to be closed for a period of time. I'm going to talk a little bit more about details and potential timelines about that in a minute. Then also on Highland Avenue, southbound Highland will have to be closed for a period of time. One positive is we should be able to maintain northbound Highland Avenue 2 lanes of traffic throughout the project. I mentioned that lining section that we are allowed to do due to capacities that are out there. So that's going to help us keep that northbound Highland traffic open throughout the project. Okay, now we're back to the Shorewood Hills area. So some of the impacts down here that we're going to see, we are going to have a temporary closure of Marshall Court just south of the University Station property. That'll hopefully be a fairly short-term closure. We're also going to have to close down Purdue Street for a period of time later next fall while we put the interceptor sewer in through there. There will be a temporary detour of Shorewood Boulevard when we have to do our crossing. We have a couple larger manholes that have to go in the Shorewood area here. So there will be a larger detour or a fairly short detour for a period of time along Western Avenue. Another impact that will be impactful is we are going to have to detour the commuter trail. A very similar detour we're anticipating as the detour that was seen during the University Avenue project when the large bike path overpass was going in. So that will have to be in effect while we're working, starting in this area here by University Station, and then all the way when we're digging along the pool. The existing pipe and the new proposed pipe, for the most part, goes right underneath that commuter trail. And then, with the pipe being dug in here with that open trench method, there is going to be a large impact to the existing landscaping along the trail here by the pool and park area. And again, hoping to save that bur oak tree. We have an alignment to jog around that tree, but the rest of the vegetation and landscaping in this area will likely have to be removed, and I'll talk a little bit about what's going to go back here in a second. So for that landscaping plan, on our team, we have a certified arborist as well as a landscape architect. We've been working very closely with the Village of Shorewood staff, including the village forester and administrator. We know this is very impactful. There's a lot of vegetation here and landscaping detail that went in when this bike path went in, which will have to be removed as part of our project. But again, we've worked closely in developing a new landscaping plan that the village is so far is enjoying, and it's going to be a low maintenance plan, but get a lot of nice vegetation in there and landscaping to hope, to beautify the area, but also be a low maintenance solution for long-term needs for the village. This is pretty zoomed out right now, a little bit on purpose, just because it is in very draft form right now. We've had a couple iterations of this that have went back and forth between village staff and us for review. We're making some edits right now based on village comments, and then we're hoping to finalize this here in the next month. This will be included in the construction contract for the contractor to implement after the pipe is installed. All right, so how is this going to get constructed and kind of in what general sequence? So we're talking about these different areas of the project. The tentative plan would be to bid this out here this winter, and then how construction is going to occur. We're looking at starting at the east end of the project first, down in the Highland Ave area. Ideally, we're going to start that as soon as school is out, kind of in mid-May. So that'll be in the summer. Hopefully be done by early September, and then again, that area along Highland Avenue. Once that's done, that should be about the same time as the Village of Shorewood Hills pool closing for the summer. So then we'll have the contractor move up there, work on that area between Marshall Court and Shorewood Boulevard while the pool is closed, so we're less impactful to that area in the parking lot for the pool. Some of that work may very well continue into cold weather months. With some of the restoration and things like that likely to occur early in 2025 when the weather warms up. And so once we do that, what's going to be left is that small section by University Station. So that'll have an impact on the parking lot there at University Station. Again, we're tying on to that Bourne Jack section by the railroad tracks, and then crossing across Marshall Court, and then connecting back in where we started late summer of 2024. So zooming in a little bit on Highland and kind of what residents and commuters might see out there. So we're looking at kind of three primary stages for the work out there. Again, starting at the east end, you can see the kind of the red highlighted areas where the work zones will be. So the first impact will be the off ramp from Campus Drive to Highland to be closed. We're thinking about up to 6 weeks for the contractor to get their work done through here. Once they get down to the bottom of the ramp, just shy of Highland, then contractor will have to kind of go over and start setting up on the west side of Highland to get things set up. So then there's going to be about a month period where both ramps and southbound Highland Avenue would then be closed. But then northbound Highland, we should be able to keep open through that time. So while this is going on, that lining work that I mentioned will be getting done. The paving work on the off ramp will be getting done, and the contractor will be getting all the work done in the west edge of the intersection and stubbing out of the intersection so that they can get the intersection repaved with concrete and then get that back open to traffic. So then that leaves us with the last stage of work here. In this stage, we would just have the on ramp from Highland closed. We're anticipating up to 6 weeks for this. And again, pipes going right down the middle of the on-ramp, so there's just not enough room to keep traffic open. So this will be closed while they continue west, and then continuing and then hooking up with a manhole just east of U-Bay Drive, which we teed up during phase 2 of the roadway project. So again, from a zoomed out perspective on the schedule, we're working on wrapping up final design right now, getting this bid out over the winter. And then, like I mentioned earlier, starting on the east end, hopefully in May, working our way from east to west through the Highland area. And then construction would continue, in fall in the Shorewood Hills area, partially into the winter, depending on cold weather and what the contractor can get done. And then wrapping up sometime in the summer of 2025 in that Marshall Court area. Now I'll turn it back over to you, Eric, to wrap up the last couple of slides before we have any Q&A. You're still muted, Eric. Oh, Eric, I think you're still muted.
Thank you. Yes, I was. What I was saying, this slide shows the project webpage. It's on our website. The easiest way to get to it is to remember madsewer.org. Enter that in your browser and then go to I believe it's What We Do. Look at it right now. Yeah, What We Do. Current construction projects, and that'll get you to all of our current construction projects. And this one is the West Interceptor-Shorewood relief. As you can see, there's I believe this is almost the entire web page right now. So I'll be working on updating that. I don't know that there'll be a whole lot more text on there, but there is we have had previous public information meetings for phase 1 for the overall design. I believe we've had 2 or 3 public involvement meetings already. This presentation will also be made available on that webpage. But again, it's madsewer.org, and then go to the tab What We Do and look for construction projects, and that'll get you here. And there's a ton of other information on our website, anything you're interested in. So with that pretty much concludes the presentation. If you have any questions or comments, you can submit them to me. You can call me or send an email. And if you have any questions right now, then we'd be happy to take them.
Yeah, you can. This is Amanda from the district. You can absolutely drop questions in the chat, or if you'd like to, or if you wanted to unmute and ask questions, you are welcome to do that as well. And certainly, as Eric noted, if you wanted to just reach out to him personally, he will get back to you and chat with you and help answer whatever questions that you have. So I'll just hold the space here for a minute or so to see if there's any questions. Otherwise, we can wrap for the night. And again, you can find this online on the Sewer District website. So Matthew in the chat says, thank you for the presentation and to have a great evening. So thank you, Matthew. Appreciate you being here. Give it just about 30 more seconds. All right, well, with that, we conclude tonight's public information meeting. Thank you to Eric and Tom for presenting and for those community members that joined us, and everyone have a great rest of your Thursday evening.
Thank you.